Today, we're diving into a story that blends big tech, free speech, privacy, and government overreach, all with Elon Musk right at the center of it. Elon Musk's X Corp, formerly Twitter, is suing New York over what they're calling a blatant violation of the First Amendment. The law in question is New York's so-called Stop Hiding Hate Act. Sounds noble, right? But like most things coming out of blue state bureaucracies, the name is pure branding. The actual law, it's something entirely different. This law requires social media companies to explain in detail how they moderate hateful conduct. And they have to report it to the government every 6 months or get fined up to $15,000 per day. $15,000 per day for failing to outline how you suppress free speech that the government doesn't like. The left has been acting out. Welcome to Nelly Miranda.
Musk's social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, is taking on the state of New York in court. At the center of this legal battle is a new law that demands transparency on how social media companies deal with hate speech. But Musk says this goes too far and infringes on free speech. X has filed a lawsuit against the New York law that requires social media platforms to reveal how they handle hate speech, extremism, and other harmful content. The law, called the Stop Hiding Hate Act, demands that social media platforms publicly disclose what steps they take to fight hate and whether they're making progress. But in its lawsuit, X argues that the law violates the First Amendment, which protects free speech. The platform claims it's being forced to comment on what it allows or bans, even when that involves highly sensitive topics.
Let me put this bluntly. This law is government-compelled speech, and that's unconstitutional. So let me ask you, what exactly is hateful conduct? Is it actually hate, or is it just disagreement with the party in power? Because if you leave that definition up to none other than Letitia James or Kathy Hochul, I think we all know where this is going. This isn't about safety. This is about silencing, and Elon Musk knows this. This is why X is suing, because the First Amendment doesn't give exemptions for offensive content or politically inconvenient speech.
We don't agree on this.
Yes, you want censorship and I don't.
No, I don't want censorship at all.
Yes, you do.
No, I want responsibility. I think there.
You desperately want censorship.
No, if I want a censorship.
You want censorship so bad you can taste it.
No, that's not true. It's not true. I think that there's right and wrong. And I think
therefore you want censorship.
And I think that when you have a platform that's as big as yours and as powerful as yours and as influential as yours, and you are a person of consequence to the world with what you do, that there is a certain responsibility that goes along with what you have on your platform and what you put out to the world. And I think that's important. You don't see that responsibility?
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law. And if people want the law changed, they should talk to their elected representative and get the law changed, and then we will adhere to the law.
Okay.
But if you want us to go beyond the law, that is us deciding to be censors. And I'm against censorship. I'm in favor of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And freedom of speech only is relevant when people you don't like say things you don't like. Otherwise, it has no meaning.
Musk has made it clear he believes in free speech, even if that speech is messy, even if that speech makes some bureaucrats uncomfortable. And that brings us to the second part of the story. DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, whose goal is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in government programs. Sounds efficient, sounds smart, sounds like a win for taxpayers, right? Well, Letitia James and 18 other AGs did not think so. So they got together and sued the Trump administration for allowing Musk and DOGE access to the Treasury Department's central payment system. So let me read you the statement from Letitia James' office on February 21st, 2025. I'll read it quickly, so you guys have to bear with me. New York Attorney General Letitia James today released the following statement after a federal court granted her motion for a preliminary injunction to stop Elon Musk and employees of his so-called Department of Government Efficiency from having unauthorized access to Americans' private information. Giving the world's richest man unauthorized access to our nation's central payment system and our most sensitive personal information puts all Americans in the essential funds they depend on at risk. With this illegal power grab, Musk and DOGE are trying to wipe out vital programs and services from healthcare to public safety to education. That's our community's needs. I led a coalition of attorneys general to put a stop to this lawlessness, and a federal court has yet again blocked their access to our confidential information. Today, we want a court order stopping unauthorized, unelected, and unvetted individuals like Elon Musk from accessing our nation's most sensitive financial information. We will continue to fight to defend the rule of law and protect all Americans from this administration's destruction. She loves that saying, defend the rule of law. Okay, so it goes on to say, on February 7th, Attorney General James led a coalition of 18 other attorneys general in filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration to stop the unauthorized access to Americans' private information. Attorney General James' lawsuit asserts that the Trump administration illegally provided Elon Musk and Doge unauthorized access to the Treasury Department's central payment system, and therefore to individual Americans and states' sensitive information, including Social Security numbers and bank account information. On the morning of February 8th, a federal judge in the Southern District of New York granted Attorney General James a motion for a temporary restraining order, blocking the Trump administration from granting Doge access to Americans' most sensitive personal information and ordering them to immediately destroy any and all copies of records that they already had obtained. Today, Judge Jeanette Vargas of the Southern District of New York granted Attorney General James and the coalition motion for a preliminary injunction, barring the government from allowing unauthorized government employees like Elon Musk and Doge to access Treasury's central payment system while the coalition's lawsuit proceeds. Joining Attorney General James in the lawsuit are the attorneys generals of Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Wisconsin. Okay, I felt like I was repeating the same stuff over and over. For a second, I was like, did I just read this already or what? Now, here's the irony. Democrats whine about inefficiencies and fraud in government, but when someone finally steps in to clean it up, they panic. Let's call this what it is. It's a coordinated campaign by radical leftist attorney generals to punish Musk for defying their narrative, and they want him silenced, regulated, sued, and shut down. This has nothing to do with privacy or transparency. It's about control, and Elon Musk is one of the few people with the power and the courage to say no.
Deciding what content should appear on a social media platform is a question that engenders considerable debate among reasonable people about where to draw the correct proverbial line. This is not a role that the government may play.
New York Attorney General Letitia James is named as a defendant in the case, and she's charged of enforcing the law. But so far, neither she nor X have commented publicly on this matter. Two Democratic lawmakers who helped draft the law defended it strongly. They say social media sites like X have become cesspools of hate and accuse them of hiding their policies from the public.
The fact that Elon Musk would go to these lengths to avoid disclosing straightforward information to New Yorkers as required by our statute illustrates exactly why we need the Stop Hiding Hate Act.
Under the law, companies could face fines of up to $15,000 per day if they fail to comply. And this isn't the first time Elon Musk's platform has fought a law like this. In fact, last year, X successfully blocked a similar law in California that required tech giants to report on their moderation practices. In its New York case, X is using that win to argue that states are overstepping by trying to control online speech. Now, since Elon Musk took over Twitter in 2022 and renamed it X, he's cut back on content rules and reduced the team responsible for enforcing them. He's often called himself a free speech absolutist, believing that people should be allowed to say almost anything online. But that approach has drawn sharp criticism, especially from groups tracking hate speech online. In fact, one professor who studies online safety says that even if some rules still exist on X, they're hardly ever enforced. Last year, Elon Musk also filed a lawsuit against a research organization that tracked the rise in hate speech on the platform, but a federal judge dismissed the case. This latest fight could once again test where the line is between free speech and public safety on social media. And Elon Musk says the government has no right to police speech online, but New York lawmakers say people have a right to know if hate is being addressed.
We do not need more censorship disguised as safety. We do not need Letitia James or any other Democrat AG deciding what's acceptable to post online. What we need is exactly what Elon Musk is fighting for: platforms that allow open discourse, transparent algorithms, not secret bans, and real consequence for government overreach. If Elon Musk loses this battle, if we let New York dictate what qualifies as acceptable speech, we are one step away from state-run media. And once you lose speech, everything else follows. So what do you think? Should Elon Musk be fined into silence by New York? Should unelected bureaucrats define what you're allowed to post? Or should we stand with Elon Musk and fight for the First Amendment like our freedoms depend on it? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like and subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.